I'm going to show you how to fill out listing paperwork. To get started, you'll already have to have dotloop open. And so to begin, open up your loop. Search by the name, open up your loop. You will already need to have the required documents loaded into your loop. And the documents that I am going to show you how to fill out today are the new listing checklist and the listing input form. So you're going to want to check those off and open them up. Now first we'll start with the new listing checklist. You can autofill these things so that they fill in automatically for you, but I'm going to skip that just so you can see what exactly needs to be typed in. So I'm going to exit out of that, and I'm going to show you how to fill in these documents. So on the top part of the new listing checklist, you're going to fill in your listing dates off of the exclusive right to sell. So my listing dates are 4/11/2017, expires 4/11/2018. The address of the property goes in here, so I'm going to enter my address. If it's a condo, make sure to type in the unit number, which this is. Enter your seller's name. Enter their address. If you're not sure of their address, you can most likely find it on Horry County Land Records. So here is the address, right down here. Then you'll have to enter their telephone number and their email addresses. So enter as much information as you have. If you have two sellers, enter both. In this case, at the moment, I only have one seller's information, so I'm going to put in what I have. But you're going to want to make sure, in this case, like I'm going to make sure that I get the information for the second seller. So always make sure you put as much contact information as possible in here, so if the office needs to get in touch with these owners, they can. Okay, then now you're going to scroll down through this checklist. Is there a lockbox on this property? No, in this case I don't, and then I will initial. Is there a sign? No, and then I will initial to verify that I am truthfully saying there is no lockbox and sign. Now here you need to enter your source. If you don't have a source, I suggest adding a text box here and a check box and adding your own, or you could just use this box down here to type the source if it's another source. In this case, this is a referral to another agent, so I'm going to type in the referral form on the name. Now, showing instructions if this is a rental property. This is very important. Yes, this is rented. This is in a vacation rental lease, so I don't have a copy of the lease, but what I can put in here is much information as possible. So I'm going to put that this is rented with Myrtle Beach Resort. And their phone number, in case the office would have to get in touch with them, which they will to schedule appointments. Okay, so now here for the showings, you need to be very specific so that if somebody who is not you, the person who would be working answering the calls for showings at the desk, can read this and know exactly what to do to schedule a showing for this property without having to guess. So you have to give as much details, phone numbers, contact information, and be very clear. So in this case, the contact information is On-Site Rentals, rental office, and their phone number, and then I would have put instructions. So in this case, I'm going to put call On-Site Rental Office for key and availability. If you have any specific instructions or directions to the property, you could put them in here. In this case, I don't. Now on this part, you have to fill out the HOA. I suggest you have all of this kind of information ready before filling out your form. So once you have the information ready, you can just go ahead and plug it all in. So I already know the property management company I researched as soon as I got this listing. So the property management company, I type in here, Myrtle Beach Resort. Their HOA dues I have verified by calling are $601, and the HOA contact, their phone number for that resort HOA is 843-828-1300. And then same thing for the phone, just contact them. If you have a person's name, you can put that in there as well. How are they paid? These dues are paid monthly. You'll need to ask. Some are paid annually, quarterly, semi-annually. So you will have to ask the HOA when you call. And then you will also need to find out what is included in the HOA dues. So in this case, cable is included, water is included, sewer is included, insurance is included. This question, insurance included, is master insurance, building insurance. So that is included. If not, are there any special assessments? Sometimes insurance is a special assessment. Sometimes there are other special assessments. In this case, I have verified there are none. Is there any litigation pending? This is very important because you do have to disclose this in the MLS, and the answer to this for this property is yes. You have to then initial that you verified that this is not a first right of refusal building. So go ahead and initial. I have verified that. And then the last question on this checklist is the community or building a first right of refusal. I have verified no. But all of this is extremely important information, so I would have the checklist out when you're calling the HOA, and just go through each question and ask them every question so you can properly fill this out. And then you'll also save yourself some calls from other agents because you'll have all of the information in the MLS, so they won't be looking for it. So now I'm going to move on to filling out the MLS input form. I'm using a condo because this is probably one of the most occurring forms. There's also land in residential. And most importantly, what you're going to be looking for is to fill out these R's, which mean required. It doesn't mean that you should not fill in anything that doesn't say R, but at the minimum, you have to fill out the red R's. You can leave up here MLS number blank. The county, this county is Horry. The price on this property is $59,900. Real easy as we go down, just fill in your address. If you have a second address, you can put it in. If you don't, just leave it. This is unit 6107D. And then what's most helpful to me is if you can have an old MLS printout available to fill this out. If you don't, you're just going to have to research it as you go along. But luckily for me, I have an old printout and I'm able to fill this out now as I go. So I know that this building name is Myrtle Beach Resort FS. And you need to put the floor that it's on. This case is a ground floor, so I put first, city, state, and zip. Project code, a lot of times the project code and the building code can be the same, but you're going to want to verify to make sure that is correct, because sometimes there's different buildings within one project. In this case, it's the same. The area, fill in your area, and you'll have to get that off of an old MLS listing. If you don't have an old MLS listing, you're going to have to look at another MLS listing. If it's in a condo, same building. If it's in a residential community or a piece of land, look at a same piece of property on the street to determine which area this is in. Keep going down. This is a condo. Construction status, is it resale, new, under construction? This is a resale. Then you have to decide what style building this is. In this case, this is a low-rise building. You have to determine what type of parking it is. If you do not know, in this case, I would ask the HOA. You need to select one type of exterior finish. You can skip four-sided lot measurement. We do not put measurements of lots or bedrooms as a requirement, so you can skip any kind of measurements. We do require a PIN number, so you'll have to find that in either the Horry County or Georgetown County tax records. In this case, I have it here in Horry County. So I find my property here on Horry County, copy the PIN number, and enter that into there. Once you put it in one spot here, you can move along, because I'm not in Georgetown and there's no other tax map numbers. Zoning, this will be either residential, multifamily, there's a couple different choices, commercial, things like that. So this is multifamily. Grid map page, you can just enter the grid map number altogether, and that will give the page as well. So the number part is the page, so it's on page 38, and then the rest is PP 26. Now this is the same as the area. If you don't know or don't have an old listing, look at the same building or the same street of a property, and you'll be able to determine what the grid map number is, or if you have a grid map book, you can find it in there. Now the schools, once you determine what schools they are, type them in here. This is Lakewood Elementary and St. James Middle, Socastee High School. Okay, as we move along, super self-explanatory, 2 bedrooms, 2 full baths. I have 2 full, 0 half baths. This is furnished, so the seller's selling it furnished. There is a rental management contract, so I want to put yes. There's no home warranty. If there were a home warranty, you can type in this, the information. My HOA does include building insurance. It does not include HO6. I've determined it's paid monthly, and then you have to type in the amounts here. So we have 601, the HOA contact information. Type in your gross annual rental income, and you will find that either you can get an authorization form for the seller to sign and get it from the HOA, or you can ask your owner. So in this case, I know that it was a certain amount for 2016, so I'm entering it there. The more years you have, the better. Probably if you could go back 2, that would be to your advantage. Like I said earlier, you can leave the room dimensions blank. You do need to fill in the heated square feet and the total square feet. You can find that if it's a condo, you know, similar units in the same stack. If it's a property that you cannot find, you will have to measure. So enter your square feet, and then enter the year that the property was built. Now, if you do not know what year the property was built, I'll show you a handy little trick. Log into your Paragon. Go to Tax Reese. Look up your owner. Open up their record. I can see this was built in 86. Sometimes you will not be able to tell this, but usually you can find it there. So 1986, you can find it there or on another listing. Enter your listing agent name. If you have a listing team, and then a co-lister if you have one, which we do. Enter owner's last name. Enter it here. If they have requested not to have their last name in the multiple listing, you need to put withheld there. Subagent's fee and your buyer's broker's fee, those are the amounts of the commission. So subagent's fee in most cases is 0, and then the buyer broker fee, which is the selling agent's commission, you'll type in here. Variable commission, if for any reason the commission would not always be what you state in the buyer broker's fee, if there's instances that it would change from that, you have to put that yes, it's variable. In this case, it is not variable. Type of agency, exclusive right to sell or exclusive agency. This is exclusive right to sell. Under stipulation of sale, you'll see all your choices. In this case, my listing is a potential short sale, so I'll pick that off. If you don't have any type of stipulations, you will select one. As you see, it's already put in the listing dates. If you have a virtual tour, you can put the address, the web address in there. Now all of this, MLS approved lockbox, no. And then you can just mark all of these other things here, yes. So put yes or no if you have a lockbox, and then you can allow all of these display on Internet Realtor and the views on web. Just put yes for all those, and only put yes if you have a lockbox. Now, this is the part that not everything is required, but you're going to want to put as much in here as possible to inform buyers about the details of the property. So you're going to want to do a little research before you do this. So I'm going to fill this out as I go along. Just pick out the best that you can. I'll do each category. Living room, I don't have a living room. Dining room, I have a living room, dining room combo. Nothing in the great room. This is a first floor level property, so I would click off first floor level master bedroom, because that could be very important to some people who are looking for properties with bedrooms downstairs. Then you're going to type in everything about the bath. We've got a shower, a tub, a vanity, going down here through everything in the kitchen. So you'll just have to bear with me for a minute as I do these things. On here, the interior features, be very careful and make sure that you check off everything that you see that would apply. I have a smoke detector. One thing that's really important, if your property is furnished, you're going to want to put it interior features, because if an agent is searching for furnished properties, they may check off criteria that anything marked as furnished shows up. So make sure that you check off furnished. Just scrolling through the levels, the type of floor covering. Let's see. Now you're going to want to do your type of heating and cooling. I have central heat, central air, it's electric. If you have any other rooms, you could put them here. In this case, I don't. Your exterior features, the patio. Okay, you're going to want to now fill in the amenities. You can find those sometimes in other listings, or you could ask the HOA. So we have HOA fees. Most neighborhood with an HOA, you're going to want to mark off there's restrictions. They have a pool, they have a tennis court, security. This place does allow short and annual long-term rentals. Very important if you're in a gated community, press gated, and then check off everything else offered by the HOA. Okay, now here your HOA fee, what it includes, you should have been informed that by the HOA. So I am going to put in here everything that this includes. So this includes my common electric, which is the common for the common areas such as like around the pool. My water, my trash. There's no elevator. You would put elevator service if there's an elevator. So let me just check off through these. Okay, utilities available to the property. Your showing instructions, this is important. This one, if it's occupied, I'd check off occupied. For everything, you're going to want to click off call listing office. If it's occupied, you're probably going to want to check off appointment only, or occupied, so that they know, that there's somebody in a property. If they're wanting to look at vacant properties, they may search for properties that occupied is not checked off. Possession, you're always going to have at closing. Terms of sale, always check off usually conventional and cash. Now the building location, I would go ahead and put here where your building is located. One thing, like I'm not quite sure at the moment, but to find out where the building is located, you could look at other listings, or you can look on old MLS sheets. So I just want to verify here by looking at some old listings where this is located. And this particular building is not located on the ocean front or second row. So I'm going to put outside city limits and east of 17. And all of these locations are extremely important because some agents will search for criteria for showings for their clients based on the locations of things. So that's one of the top search priorities. So now unit location. This you're going to want to fill out if it's got anything important. Mine in particular doesn't have any of these criteria, so I will leave it blank. But that's another important one to fill out if you can. Now this property, we've moved down here to showing instructions, driving directions, agent remarks, and public remarks, and this is the last page. Showing instructions, I would leave blank, or you can type in C listing checklist. Driving directions, you can look at other listings and copy them. So I would reword it a little bit because you're not supposed to copy, but I have just copied some from another listing. So I'll paste it and reword it a little bit so it doesn't look like I just copied it. But Myrtle Beach Resort, I'm just going to reword it a little bit. There we go. Now, agent to agent remarks. This is where you put in any financial information. So you cannot put dollars amounts in the public remarks. So if you want to put in any specific things you only want the agents to see, in this case, I am putting that this is a short sale. So there's some certain wording we disclose to the agents about short sale, but some examples of things you may put in the agent to agent remarks are if they're selling furniture, the dollar amount of the furniture. If you have any more information on gross rental income, you could put that in here. Now your public remarks, this is the category where you want to fill in all of the description of the property that the public will see. Now to save time, I have already done this so that you don't have to wait for me to think of it, because sometimes it takes a while to put together. So I usually type it out in Word, and then I will copy and paste it into here. And so I am all done. I will say with the public remarks, just make sure you cannot put any financial information in there. You have to be careful about your wording. This is where you could not use information such as you could not say, this is a family home, or, perfect home for retirees, things like that. You have to be very careful about what you put in the public remarks because everybody will see it. So you do have to follow all the laws and fair housing guidelines with your remarks. So once you have filled out your paperwork, hit save, and then you can go back to your loop and finish working on the rest of your documents to submit the loop to Lisa. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you.